Alrighty, let's get started. Thanks everybody for being here tonight. Welcome to the July 2019 edition of A2NewTech. This is Art Fair Week in Ann Arbor, so a small subsection of you are excited about that, and most of you are just kind of annoyed. I'm your host, David Nesbitt, for A2NewTech tonight. I've been in Ann Arbor for about 10 years now, and working in tech for 5 of those years, and I help manage a portfolio of innovative academic software tools at U of M, just a couple blocks away from here. So I'm annoyed about Art Fair, because I'm in the middle of it. This meetup has been running since 2009, so this is our 10th anniversary year. And since then we've had 100 plus meetups, 350 plus companies pitch here. At my last check we were at 7,399 members and climbing. And last year we had almost 60 pitches. So this is kind of like a friendly front door for entrepreneurship in southeastern Michigan. Quick question to kind of pull the audience and see who's in the room. Who is here for the first time at A2NewTech? Awesome. So maybe about half. It's pretty usual for us. Who is hiring for a position tonight? Like, know their company is hiring, they're here, have a position in mind. Awesome. And who's looking for like a next opportunity? There we go. So a quick hand shoot up. I like that. Awesome. Good number of people. So hopefully some of you can make connections tonight, share about opportunities you know about, things like that. So this monthly gathering time gives us a chance to learn about what's happening out there in tech in Ann Arbor, to connect with each other, the people that are invested in building the technology community here and building the future of tech in Ann Arbor. And each of us has our own goals for being here. You have some things in mind, kind of why you come to this event, what kind of information you want to get, what you want to learn, what kind of opportunities you want to find. But I encourage you to think about a way to help someone else tonight. Maybe make a connection for them, give them some advice, or offer them some help. And that's just a small way we can all help build that community that we want to be a part of here in Ann Arbor that's supportive of people here in tech. Tonight, after our meetup, then around 8 o'clock, then join us over at Dominic's, where we'll have some networking time. And even if it rains, they promised us the covered spot in the back of Dominic's. So as long as they make good on that, which I think they will. We'll have free pizza there, courtesy of Ann Arbor Spark. So they are sponsoring our post networking pizza, and then you can grab a drink as well. So come join us at Dominic's, and that's just a block away that way. So you can just walk over with us afterwards. In the next month before our next meetup, we always meet on every third Tuesday of the month. So in the next 4 weeks, if you want to stay connected with the community here in Ann Arbor for tech, there's a great way to do that, which is our Slack channel. And you can find that Slack channel and join it at madeina2.com/Slack. So madeina2.com/Slack. So in there you'll find a lot of different channels on a lot of different topics, things like general announcements, open jobs, and a variety of other things. So go check it out, join it. Might be a place you want to check into every week or so just to see what's happening in the community and see what you can help out with or what you can learn from that channel. I also want to say a quick thank you to some people and organizations that help make this event happen every month. You don't get through 10 years of doing this without a lot of help. And so A2 Geeks, first up, is a nonprofit dedicated to making southeastern Michigan and Ann Arbor a great place for geeks and creatives to live, work, and play. Roger Rayle does our video every month. Let's give Roger a round of applause. Roger's company is R2Vive, and if you want to hire Roger for video work, look up R2Vive, and you can contact him about that. I also want to thank co-organizers of this group over the last 10 years, Doug Song, Zach Steinler, Scott Gosey, David Bloom, David Corcoran, Brian Kelly, Brooke Boyle. These organizers have made this event happen, curated presenters, and really made Ann Arbor New Tech continue over the last 10 years. The Entrepreneurship Clinic at U of M's Law School is also a huge help. They help us get this space every month, which is super key to getting this event to happen. So Dana Thompson's the founding director of Michigan Law's Entrepreneurship Clinic. And if you're a company in Michigan, especially a startup, you can get free IT, corporate, and various legal services from law students here at the U. And so you can contact Laura Schiltz, who's the clinic administrator, to learn more. And people often ask me, what's Laura's contact information? You can find it on their website just by looking it up. I don't actually have it off the top of my head otherwise. I think it's lschiltz@umich.edu. Lastly, I want to thank Ann Arbor Spark. I mentioned they're doing the post meetup networking pizza sponsorship. They've been doing that for quite a while now, and I think that Margarita Hernandez will be here from Spark later. And so I encourage you to meet her, learn more about Ann Arbor Spark and the work that they do with with companies, entrepreneurship here in Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor Spark is committed to bringing together the organizations and individuals to support the growth of companies and creation of jobs here. So we appreciate their support every month, and definitely encourage you to learn more about Spark if you're not familiar. Okay, so agenda. We're going to jump into pitches in a second. We've got 4 great companies to pitch tonight. We're going to run until about 8 p.m. here tonight before we head over to Dominic's. And so we have 4 companies that are each giving a 5-minute pitch, and then we'll have 5 minutes of Q&A time after that. And then at the end of those, we'll have a time for community announcements. And so if you have an announcement about an event that you want to promote, or a position you're hiring for, a collaborator you're looking for, you can think that up now, and then after the pitches, I'll call you up to each one at a time, give your community announcement. During the Q&A portion, one note about that, after each pitch, make sure to ask, if you have a question for the presenter, make sure to ask it in the form of a question that they can respond to. I know it's tempting to give feedback or give advice. A lot of people in the room have a lot of experience in maybe entrepreneurship or something similar to what they're going to be pitching about. But save that for afterwards. You can have that in a one-on-one conversation. But in the Q&A portion, make it a question that they can answer and engage the whole audience that way. Make sure to silence your phones. I know occasionally we'll forget to do that. So make sure to turn those off so they don't interrupt the pitches. And if you're tweeting or using Instagram, use the hashtag A2NewTech. So I think that's everything, and we're going to jump right into the pitches. And so I'll have a timer up here in the front to keep them honest. 5 minutes for the pitch. I'll gently cut them off if they're going over. And if they do go over, maybe you can get cut off. You can help them finish up in the Q&A portion. So tonight, our first pitch is Parable. And Carla Holtz is here to pitch Parable. So Carla, you can come on up and get plugged in, or get started on here. And Parable is a privacy-friendly identity company that unifies a device's identity across multiple browsers and apps on a single device without the use of personally identifiable information or third-party cookies. And Parable actually has offices in New York, San Francisco, and Ann Arbor.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carla Holtz. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Parable. And we are solving identity. You may have heard, but the cookies are broken. Third-party cookies are on their way out. The big problem, Apple restricted third-party cookies long ago in Safari, and there's even been announcements pretty recently that Chrome is going to crack down on third-party tracking as well. So what are we to do? It's a big problem to be able to identify the same user as they bounce between their Snapchat app, between Facebook WebView, between ESPN.com, NewYorkTimes.com. You may look like 4 different people, or maybe 4,000 different individuals. So it's very difficult for marketers to reach that user with a personalized message, or for them to measure the effectiveness of their advertising. In Facebook or Google, it's really easy, because you log in and they know everything about you. But in the big open web, it's very difficult for marketers to compete for those dollars. And by the way, that might be why Google and Facebook have so much money, have so much market share. So what Parable does is I actually had a different company years ago trying to do personalization for e-commerce companies and ran into this problem and tried to license a mobile identity solution from the ecosystem, and nobody had a good one. Everybody said, this is a $1 billion problem, and it is. So we started working on it years and years ago. Before it was a big deal, now it's a much bigger deal. And we started developing a hack of a solution, built the whole thing, and now it's a pretty strong identity platform. We identify all devices, your laptop, your mobile device, one ID across multiple channels on the same device. To this date, we do this without any personally identifiable information. So no email addresses, no physical addresses, nothing that could be considered PII. So there's some companies out there that are doing this thing called cross-device identification, and they're trying to decide that this laptop and this mobile device both belong to Carla. And they use probabilistic or fingerprinting methods to kind of triangulate that these users are coming from the same device. The problem is they don't work effectively, and they've got big holes. When they don't have third-party cookies, they've got big holes in them. In fact, these are the people we went to years ago trying to license a solution. They said, help, if you can develop this, we'll license it from you. So that's where we developed our niche. We filled the holes. There's no more Swiss cheese. So we have one device, one ID. What is this important for? Cookie to app consolidation. If you're an attribution company or a big company, social media company, and you're taking money from Ford Motors, and you want to understand the effectiveness of that ad that you see in app, and then the user goes outside of that app and clicks on Ford Motors, you're not able to actually understand it's the same device unless you have a true identity solution. Cross-domain device matching. Again, on Safari, if a user is in ESPN to NewYorkTimes.com, they look like two different people. So we consolidate that. They look like one different device. Browser to app, and then profile enrichment, and then targeting and retargeting. It works. So this is results from a big company that we've been running a POC with. They currently have zero ability to identify devices in Safari. And we showed them consistently that we're able to do this 80-90%. Why are we not 100%? Time and scale. With more time and scale, we should get there. The technology is an eventual consistency goal. This is pretty interesting. This is from a data management platform. Scary stuff. They thought that they were developing, 81 profiles on users. And they may be behavioral profiles. So ABC 123 is a soccer mom. She lives in Chicago, whatever else, right? They think they've got 84 unique profiles. But due to the identity problem, we actually were able to consolidate that into 4 different devices. So you wonder why you're being bombarded with the same ad over and over and over, because they think you're 84 different people when you're just 4 or 1. We have a team, as I mentioned, I started the company years ago in New York City. My co-founder and CTO is a serial entrepreneur that's come in the space, Justin Green. He was an advisor to my previous company. We've got Bob Sell, he's kind of an ad tech guru. I got aboard some Joanne Wilson, who's a Gotham gal, Wybot, who's a VC out from San Francisco, as well as Alan Chappelle, who's one of the leading privacy experts in the industry. And privacy is what we're all about. So anyways, that's terrible. I can't stay for the whole socialization, so I'd love for you to reach out to me. What am I looking for? Talent on the engineering side for sure, and always open to talking to people who might be interested in investing, whether it's now or later.
Great. Alrighty, questions for Carla? Right here.
Is your overall strategy considered looking at and aligning with the trends for zero trust identity?
For
zero trust, not trusting any device to talk to any others until there's a mechanism by which you recognize it and then communication allows it?
No, totally different, yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
As a privacy person myself, how do you guys anticipate dealing with, for example, with GDPR or CCPA that really look at anything that could identify a particular individual as being PII?
For first party cookie, yeah. So we actually do use a first party cookie in our methodology, which first party cookies are what is used to maintain state. If you're on Zappos.com and you're trying to get to the checkout, you need to have a first party cookie in that domain to know that it's the same device. And those are pretty standard. Those will be standard. So even GDPR considers first party cookie as PII. I actually believe that we're very privacy friendly. So we are the only company out there that if a user opts out, they can opt out from the entire device, not from just one channel. All these companies out there, you think you can opt out in Safari, you can't, because there's no way to set a third party cookie in there. We're the only ones that you can do that on. So from a lot of perspectives, we're the only ones that can reset the device from, like what you can do it currently in-app, but you can't do it on the browser. And we can allow for full device reset and full opt-out. So that's one way that I think that GDPR, or the European Union, would really welcome us. Also, we're working on an opt-in solution, which is very easy for us. So obviously, as in the EU, you have to opt in to be able to be tracked. And so that's very simple. We just wouldn't set our technology until we received the opt-in flag. So I think we're actually operate very well in the CCPA in California as well. the kind of heavily regulated environments. We developed our solution years ago, anticipating that consumers would have a backlash to the walled gardens for capturing and utilizing all their PII, and that was in 2014, and guess what's happened? So I think that, and as I said on our board, we've got a leading privacy expert in the country, Alan, so I think we're actually positioned very well.
Others?
You mentioned to target buyer. Is it ad networks or,
That is a long answer.
Yeah, okay.
And there's a reason I didn't put it in here. But there's different phases to the business. Ultimately, you want to say Ford Motors, you want to be able to understand the effectiveness of your ads attribution. You want to be able to target users in Safari. You ultimately want to be able to charge the advertisers and agencies for this. Step one, however, this is like massive plumbing and infrastructure. It's an IDAS, Idea as a Service. So we work with ad networks, data management platforms, really big companies to that end. Like one of our clients is a $50 billion international conglomerate, and they have thousands of websites, and they have their own CDP inside. They've got their whole kind of ad stack inside. So those are the companies we work with phase one. Once they're utilizing us and pushing us through the entire ecosystem, then phase two, if we ever get there, we'll be selling down the road to agencies and advertisers. However, I say if we ever get there, because a lot of our partners and clients want to co-market with us to those people down the road as well. So right now it's more the ad networks, the infrastructure.
One more question? Yeah.
So what's the mechanism of the tracking?
Okay, you're gonna have to send me an email because the longer answer is I've got 43 seconds left, but I'll send it very quickly. So we place, and I'm also, my CTO is my co-founder, so he can do probably a much better job of explaining it. We place the first party cookie on the device via JavaScript or Pixel, or JavaScript, excuse me. Within that, we have our encrypted ID. We are able to associate multiple encrypted IDs together using TCP network level information. It's something we've got lots of patents around, so we've got a whole patent portfolio around it. It's very high level. It's very unique in the ecosystem. It's not just another fingerprinting. We're not using fonts or things that you would install on the computer. Again, Google came out with some threats to changing what some people are using for browser fingerprinting. We wouldn't be affected by any of that. If you want to email me, I can give you a much longer explanation.
Awesome. Thanks, Carla. All right, our next pitch is Sugo Audio, and Sean Hansen's here to pitch. Sugo Audio repackages and repurposes hardware from returned electronics to create new products for a direct-to-consumer market. Fun fact about Sean is that he is currently studying electrical engineering at Michigan State University. He has a focus on controls and robotics.
Is that controlled there?
Yeah.
So there's no remote. So in 2011, a study was conducted on returned electronics in the United States. It was found that annually, companies will spend up to $16.7 billion in handling electronics, returned electronics. And this cost goes into repairing, organizing, certifying, and testing the hardware itself. And this study was conducted back in 2011, so this number can only really be assumed to be astronomical today. It was also found that less than 5% of those returned electronics were actually returned for defective hardware, and the rest is really a mixed bag of issues that either didn't exist or no issue at all. These costs eat into profits and bog down supply chains. These costs will ultimately, of course, be brought down onto the consumer. Our solution is that we'll acquire these return electronics and we'll repackage and repurpose the hardware then to sell into a direct-to-consumer market. The way most companies solve this issue now is they either dump their hardware or they sell it to a third-party online retailer. And The difference between us and them, however, is that we actually add value to the product itself, whereas they don't. The point of this solution is to undercut our competitors with the low cost of how we source our hardware while meeting a similar level of quality. For example, we're working with a Bluetooth speaker company called Iowa, and they largely get their returns for pretty inconsequential reasons such as battery issues. We've done marketing through an Instagram that we manage, and you can see the breakdown in age and gender on the right. We've always loved the vintage look that we pursued using vintage suitcases, as you can see here. And we found that our audience really loves this look, and we want to keep going with it. And to build onto this momentum, we've recently partnered with a vintage store in Rio Town, Lansing, who will be co-signing our speakers through their store while also actually sourcing suitcases for us. We believe that a combination between selling online and co-signing vintage stores like this is really the best play for a company like us. As you can see on the bottom, our cost of goods sold is roughly $130 on average, depending on the suitcase to suitcase. And we're very comfortable with selling it at $500. And we actually compare this price to another company that also makes suitcase speakers called the Boomcase. And they usually start similarly sized speakers such as this at $700. And that's the whole point of our business model, is to undercut our competitors with how we source our hardware. Now, as far as growth, we want to be able to take full advantage of our current supplier, Iowa, until we can move on to other consumer audio brands, take their returns, and then also, when we scale up enough, we'll be able to move into other sectors of consumer electronics, such as cell phones and laptops, because once again, it's repackaging and repurposing hardware into a new housing. And finally, why I'm here. Mostly two things. First, I want to get connected with more electronics companies, preferably speaker companies which sell cheap, smaller speakers, so that we can get a wider range and a better hold onto the market. And obviously, we want to connect to more customers to sell to, obviously, but we'd also love to connect with more stores to co-sign with and brands to partner with. One concept that we would really love to prove with our business is, because the housing is so open-ended, because all our capital, all our time is going into the housing, we can start working with brands and artists to collaborate on the actual design of the housing. So for example, with a clothing store like Nike, for example, let's say Nike wanted to partner with us. We would ideally give them a wooden box with the speaker hardware already installed, and then we would let their designers take over with their textiles and their design skills, and they would push it through their stores, therefore co-signing with them as well. And that's my pitch, that's my website, that's my Instagram. Thank you for listening.
All right, what questions do we have for Sean?
Are you sort of designing these vintage suitcases? Or?
So the vintage suitcases themselves are sourced, so I don't design it, but I am directly involved into the making of the suitcases. So I can argue that I do have a hand in design.
The other question was, I know you're sourcing this out of the scrap electronics, the electrical speakers and all that.
Sure.
If your demand increases, would that cost be still suppressed to $200 or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So one factor about this concept is that the only way to turn up the spigot for our supply is to partner with more companies, or the company we would be sourcing with would have to keep coming in with more returns. And obviously this goes back to why I want to connect with more companies. But yes, if it comes to that, if we can't find more suppliers and we can't get more returns, we'll have to increase the price, for the meantime at least.
Right here?
You might have to excuse my naiveness, man, but whenever these companies are getting rid of the material that got returned, are they paying to get rid of it, by getting it destroyed? Are they just losing the money because it's sitting in one place? Or how are they getting rid of it And what major pain point are you fixing for them to make sure they get rid of it with you, make it easier for you in your partnerships?
Sure. So let's first address the pay point. So the agreement that I have with Iowa right now is per every unit. Fun fact, they sell their speakers at $350, and the cost is so massive that they sell the returns to us at $65 per unit, plus $20 for shipping.
So you still have to pay for the unit?
Yes, they judge, the $65 is judged based off, because that's just above the opportunity cost of actually refurbishing it. And most companies do in fact just dump it. I've spoken to a lot of, more than a few startups that work in different sectors of electronics like drones and computing, and they've told me when I pitch my business to them that they just throw their stuff into a dumpster. And there's obviously inherent costs of dumping the electronics to a third-party retailer, like shipping and handling and all this. But yeah, it's mostly decided based on what the opportunity cost of actually refurbishing it is, actually refurbishing the hardware is, as long as they do that.
Yeah, are there any ideas or product line extensions beyond the speakers that you're thinking about?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I actually was in New York this past June for an event called the Next Gen Summit. And at the Next Gen Summit, there was a booth sponsored by Dell. And it just so happened that the people who were managing this Dell booth were people from the returns and refurbishing department within Dell. And I, of course, pitched my concept to them, and they agreed with me that they're basically sitting on a gold mine that no one can really act on because it just costs too much. There's so many extraneous costs to handling electronics. On top of obviously paying the people who have to organize it, certify it, test it, you have to pay for a place to put it. And so again, it's repackaging and repurposing hardware. There's no crazy software tricks that we have to do. It's just pick and place and kind of work around the issues of bringing it from one housing to the other. So this process is definitely possible with cell phones, computers, and pretty much any electronic.
Other questions? Back to Nick.
So the picture you have on the screen has 4 kind of like different variants. Is there like a standard, or do you making a model to design, or that varies over the?
Sure. So I have to explain this. So this was actually, I made this one before I made this one, and I made this one out of like the very first 2 speakers that I got from Iowa, and I'm an idiot, and I botched like disassembling them, and I destroyed one of the circuits in the process. So what I instead did is I took out the subwoofer, which you can see in the middle. I took out the subwoofer and a few circuits, and I integrated it with another amplifier, not from Iowa, a couple more speaker parts, and I made that. But what you see here is a demo for what is exactly what we are intending to do with Iowa returns.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. If you got a question, connect with them afterwards. We'll move on to the next one. Great pitch. And so the next one, our next pitcher is Dimensional Cloud Technologies, LLC. And so Rick Goldstein is here to pitch. And their product, Watchdog DSD, is an end-to-end cloud applications as a service solution for the direct sales distribution market. Fun fact about Rick, he has 6 startups or turnarounds since 1998, 3 exits, 2 failures, and he says that all entrepreneurs should have a few failures.
Preach.
So, thank you for the quick introduction. We were founded in 2016. It was supposed to be a retirement company for me. I'm kind of the old guy. I've been around a long time. But you kind of get stuck and pulled back into things. So we created this private cloud. And we're in a couple of different data centers in New York City and over in New Jersey and one in California. And basically what we've been doing is we've been creating very interesting UIs for standard products that have to get put up on the web for whatever reason. Now, this is kind of strange in a little way, but it all started off with this stuff, Twinkies, right? How does the cloud end up doing something with Twinkies? Well, the reality is that there's this DSD business, direct sales distribution business, and it's huge. It's absolutely huge business. And you can see on this slide, you know, how many convenience stores and all of this business has been based on paper and pencil. It's always paper and pencil. I couldn't believe how much paper and pencil there was going on. And look at the problems that they were having with paper and pencil. This was just from the manufacturer standpoint, let alone the distributor standpoint of what the issues were. And then you got down to the drivers. The drivers basically said, hey, you know, this is really fast. I can do 6 of this, 7 of that. But what were the actual SKU numbers? What were the actual products? You know, how does somebody get that into their inventory? I mean, 7-Eleven wants that stuff in their inventory. They don't know how to take a paper receipt and do something with it like that. They want an EDI, or they want definitely a receipt or something they can barcode scan. So what we did is we solved the problem by coming up with what we call Watchdog DSD, direct sales distribution. And that gives you kind of a picture of what was in my mind as we started building this product. And it starts off with 2 products that you might know. QuickBooks. How do you know QuickBooks? Everybody knows QuickBooks, right? How do you know Fishbowl? Not too many, right? Been around 30 years, and it's a partner to QuickBooks, and it connects directly up to QuickBooks. And everything you do in Fishbowl gets automatically pushed to QuickBooks, and you're really only using QuickBooks for an income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. Everything else happens in Fishbowl. Well, so what we had to do is we had to build a piece of software that we call Watchdog Exchange. It grabs the sales order from any particular sale that happens in Fishbowl. We parse it, I think everybody knows what parsing is, and then we have from 1 to 48 different drivers, and each driver has his own inventory location, and we just punch it in there, and they work from that. Of course, they have to have, you know, hardened kind of stuff that you can throw around, deal with, and that we bring in from China, and we actually sell to these guys or lease to these guys so that they can do their job. They do it either on the net or off the net. Why? Well, most of these places, they don't have a signal. They don't have a Wi-Fi signal, so we have to be able to do it both ways. But we have to scale the market, right? We've started with, there's over 500 hostess distributors, and over 200 of them are still working with paper and pencil. But, you know, this is how we're starting off. I mean, we've only been really selling for less than a year. And we've got 4 more active quotations in process, but there's this wonderful little thing happening in Michigan called marijuana. And guess what? Marijuana has some very special laws to it. And the laws basically say that you can take all this wonderful stuff that we've done, and guess what? It all works. The state mandates that you have to use this software called Metric, shrink wrap software. It's seed to sale. And then all of the stuff that we've done surrounds that and captures it. So we can do the cultivators, the processors, everybody in that whole end-to-end market. So we put together a team, and I've got a friend of mine, Dan Wells, who's been in the IT business for a long time, looking for a sales manager, looking for a product support engineers to be able to help us along with this thing. And we're looking for around $100,000. You can see how that's going to get used. The fun part for me is this line right here. This is recurring revenue business. EBITDA is a proxy for cash. And any business that can do that kind of cash is a lot of fun. Thanks very much, and I appreciate your attention. That worked out better than I thought.
You did perfect. Perfect timing. Questions?
I guess I answered all the questions.
Yeah, all the questions. Right here on the right?
So, you know, the marijuana business, is that a happy accident, or was that the plan?
You know, that's a happy accident. It really is. My son, who's an L3 here, his focus is business and marijuana. And he wants to be a marijuana lawyer. And he's been constantly talking to me about it. So I got a little inquisitive about it. And I started looking into it, and I asked him a couple of questions. And then he started shooting to me various different sections of the law. And as I worked down, I said, wow. And then I found out that there's only 6 companies nationwide that are able to do what we're talking about doing. 6 companies, period. There's over 4,000 dispensaries alone in the United States, let alone growers right now. Michigan, if you look at it, 1,400 municipalities, 400 have opted out. There's about 1,000 municipalities. I guarantee you that's going to be a large market. So we thought we might as well play in it. And the actual work to do this is about 6 weeks worth of work to get everything together. It's just meeting up the APIs. Any other questions?
There's like no established distribution software yet.
Excuse me?
There's like no established distribution software yet.
I'm sorry, I can't hear too well.
There's like no like established distribution software yet between just like the
for the marijuana business
yeah.
or in the DSD business.
The marijuana, I guess.
There is, like I said, there's 6 companies.
Yeah.
However, they all have done kind of their own thing, right? And the bigger problem is none of them have standardized on any one particular pieces of hardware, so the customers all have hardware integration problems, they have this problem, they have that problem. We're going to take all of that away and say, look, when you buy from us, you get a known hardware set that works from end to end, right? You get a known POS system, you get a known this, a known that, and it all becomes part of the recurring revenue stream.
In the back?
What positions did you say you were hiring for?
Sales manager or vice president of sales or whatever. We need to get a few more sales in to be able to afford somebody. And then support engineers. We definitely are going to need support engineers because right now I do most of the support myself, and I spend 3 to 4 hours a day on the phone or going to customers to help them out on any one particular thing. It's kind of fun. I got a new customer that we're just getting ready to close the deal. It's a meat packing house, okay? And one of the problems with high-tech anthropology is how do you handle one of these when it's minus 2 degrees centigrade, okay? That's a problem. Now the good news is I've got some function buttons here that I can work with, and that's how we're getting the UI to work. So again, you have to think about all the different issues that you have high-tech anthropology-wise to be able to handle the customer in the way that the customer will be able to manage their own business. Because if you give them too much technology, they don't know what to do with it.
Others?
Go ahead.
Do you see any challenges collecting from marijuana dispensaries?
Absolutely not. I've talked to probably 30 dispensaries already, and most of them, for instance, this one guy I talked to last week, he has his software on a credit card, and he gets charged by Greenleaf $750 a month. Bingo, bingo, bingo. They forced him into buying a half a dozen iPads. He had to buy all of his own printers. They didn't recommend anything. It's kind of a mishmash of how things are going. And there needs to be a company that really focuses on the whole solution from end to end.
Time for one more, right here in the middle.
What's the average deal size dollar-wise that you're selling?
Well, right now, I would say that the average per customer is in the area of $900 a month. We've got customers, I think I showed a slide, anywhere from $700 to $1,600, $1,500. Most of them are on the lower end, but it depends on how many devices we put out. Basically what happens is we ask for a deposit on the devices so they don't get legs in the first year, but we return that deposit to them after the first year, and that's part of the recurring income So long as they don't mess it up, that money keeps on coming in.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, and our last pitch tonight is Learn Lounge. And so Alejandro Magallanes is here to pitch Learn Lounge. And Learn Lounge makes it easy for schools to increase student engagement and success. So Alejandro just moved here from Texas, like last week.
Yeah.
So, and reached out, wanted to pitch tonight, and so we're excited to have him. And we think we're going to Ann Arbor welcome as he's pitching tonight first. So make sure to introduce yourself and welcome him to town.
So if I have a bad pitch presentation, my apologies. I've been focusing more on sales rather than on pitches. All right, let's see if this works. Oh, there we go. Camera, I'm sorry, I like to move a lot. I know I'm the last person before we get to the drinks and the food, so I'll try to make it exciting. So again, my name is Alejandro Magallanes, and I'm here with Learn Lounge. And we help colleges better support their students and modernizing academic support. It's kind of ironic that universities are supposed to be the future of what we do in academia, but if you look at some of the things that they do, they're back to 1990 and 1980s and the tools and the systems that they do. So we decided to modernize it. Every year, 29% of incoming freshmen actually drop out of college before the second year starts. That's over $7 billion walking out of the door. I don't know if you like that. I don't like any money walking out of the door. However, colleges are having this huge problem. 29% of students are dropping out. Even University of Michigan, one of the top 20 schools in student retention, they still had 3% of their freshmen dropping out, and that's about $6 million that are walking out of the building even though they were already in here. Right now, if we say students are dropping out, we will be naive if we say it's only because of academics, right? There's life that happens. Students like myself, I would have never been able to go to college if it wasn't for an athletic scholarship to football, or students that had to also work for other things, right? You also have to do 12 to 15 hours of classes. You have to study for all those classes. And it's funny because you're 18 years old in September taking classes, but 5 months before that, you had to raise your hand to go to the bathroom. Right? It's a big shift in life, and we're throwing students and be overwhelming 18, 19-year-old students, and it's costing academic institutions millions and billions of dollars. So the official study of why this is happening, it's because time management, students don't know how to manage their time. Again, we go from holding their hand to throwing them to the wolves. They don't know how to study. And also, they don't realize some of the resources that are there are just too outdated and they don't want to use it. Every student, if you see anyone studying, if you go to the library here, you're going to see 90% of students studying with a phone right next to them, even having headphones on. But their academic support is not set up that way. It's like, well, that doesn't kind of make sense. Let's go to the student instead of students going to us. So the problem is students are dropping out, and even then, schools know that this is such a huge pain point that they spent $1.8 billion last year directly in academic support services and tools all across the United States. Now, they're spending the money, they're just not being used efficiently and effectively, right? Think of an 18-year-old kid that's taking 15 hours of classes. Right? They need help in tutoring. It's Thursday night, 7 p.m. They're obviously doing their homework at the very last second, just like any of us would have done it, right? And then they need to study. They need help at 7 p.m. on an algebra class or a pre-calc class. How do they get tutoring help? They have to leave their dorm, go across campus, go to the tutoring center. It's probably going to be closed by the time they get there. But they use a platform where they get a tutor from a third world country that doesn't know what your teacher wants. What we do is we help the colleges connect their own tutors with their own students in a more efficient way, all through a mobile device, right? So on-demand tutoring through our platform for students to do it. Easy scheduling. We know sometimes you need more in-depth one-on-one scheduling. When we interview 30 colleges and students say, look, I'm just embarrassed that I have to go to the tutoring center and I don't want my friends to do it. Do it one click away. Most people use a spreadsheet or a Google Sheets document tutoring center, so that's not very effective. Interactive analytics, so with what we do, everything that we provide, our background is in applied mathematics, our background is in software development, we're actually providing analytics to the colleges that they previously never had access to before. The way the current tutoring systems, you're not able to truly see the quality of the tutoring. We're able to analyze that for you. We're able to let you know how it's going and let you know that your money's being spent efficiently all within seconds of when it happens. And then the studying support. You know, some of the top acquisitions in EdTech are flashcard businesses, or simple study guide businesses. So we met with them, we asked them what they did, and we put it into our system, right? Again, how it works, students sign up with a student email, they submit a question, they learn. The tutors that are employed by the university, schools are required to have tutors. They log in, they select the question, and they start tutoring. I was gonna show a demo, but I don't have enough time. The business model is we go to college, and the college pays us a site license to be able to use our platform, right? It depends on the size of the school and how many students they have, anywhere between $10,000 to $80,000. And this is such a big pain point that they actually already have a budget for this set aside. They have pretty good leeway on how they want to spend it, because if you don't have chairs in these seats, you are losing money as an institution, right? At the end of the day, they need more students. So our current pipeline, we used to be another business, as you mentioned. As an entrepreneur, you need to fail to be able to do, so we failed upwards. I'll try to wrap it up real quick. We started in January with this system. We got 4 schools. We're batting 100%. As soon as we show a demo to a school, they want to do a pilot. Every school that has done a pilot, they become a paid customer. All right, so right now, since we build, we recycle, we use artificial intelligence, as of next month, we'll be profitable. We're self-funded. We'll be very blessed and to take advantage of some of our other resources. And I'm here. I'm just here, moved to Texas. I don't know anyone in this area. We have offices in New York, so I'm in New York and Amarillo in Texas a lot, but I'm also going to be here a lot. You have a lot of colleges in your area, surprisingly, and pretty close. Within where I'm from, within a 100-mile radius, there's only 8. You guys have like 8 within a 20-mile radius, and it's bigger schools too. Yeah, so we are Google for Education partners. We're one of the youngest companies to do that. We're part of the NYU EdTech Accelerator program right now. We just graduated our accelerator, and now we're part of the program. Just earlier today, I gave a keynote speech for first-generation immigrants and startups, and part of, obviously, the Hoover Cloud for Startups program. Any questions from anybody? Any questions? Come on, give them to me. I can take them. Yes, sir.
So it sounds like your platform manages the asking for information and receiving information. Does it have like payment integrated into it? I mean, how are the tutors being paid?
The college pays for the tutors. I believe my friend right here says sometimes he does some of the academic innovation, but colleges pay for the tutors. They already have a system to require. Colleges already vet the tutors. Colleges already pay the tutors, and we actually help them save money in paying for the tutoring.
So you provide them with the mechanism to say, okay, I have this tutor A, service 17 questions or whatever.
Yeah, well, again, so I'm not able to do it with a short time, but we provide an entire analytics dashboard that the colleges previously never had access to before. So they can see to the second. We also now give them access to FERPA and ADA compliances to make it better for the institutions. But yeah, one of our biggest rules, learning in startups and being humble by life, is that we don't build anything until 3 colleges ask for it. It's a lot easier to ask and then build than to build and then ask. As a startup, plus you get to save a lot of money doing that, right? So yeah, so if you tell me, hey, I wanted a dashboard, I want to see how my tutors are doing, perfect, we start planning for it. Second school tells me, perfect, we start planning for it. Now I let you know, hey, someone already asked for it. Third school tells me, we build it very fast, and everybody loves us. Pretty humble, right? That's my problem in life. I just need to be a little more humble, and I'll be perfect.
Is this just web-based, or is it?
It is mobile first-based, my friend. Again, in the focus of students, sorry, my cameraman is pushing me back. In the focus of students, the end user is the most important thing. Colleges pay. Atlanta College just paid $190,000 last year to use the software Smart Thinking, and it was barely used. They actually put in just a big RFP that they said, yeah, we didn't want to do this. And that's because most softwares are web-based, but students don't want web-based. So what does the end user want? Yeah, colleges will pay for us, but if students don't use us, we're not going to get paid. So we actually created academic support systems. We partner with student organizations. We have student ambassadors from the college. We're mobile based. It's all mobile based for the student and the tutor. For the web, for the school, it is web based. And however, with that being said, I was going to say that she talked about having the board. We obviously have a board, but we also created a student board. Whenever we partner with a school, we find a key student in the school and we say, would you like to be part of our student board? Right? We invite them, we help them bump up the resume, but we meet with them once a month to make sure that what we're building and what we're doing, it's something the students want to use, because otherwise we might get paid once, but then we're not going to get paid again. We have a pretty good stickiness to what we do. Yes, ma'am, ladies first, sorry.
Sorry, as a B2B business, how do you choose your potential clients? Are they cold calls?
So right now, we are a fairly small team, right? We will do anything we can, but yeah, right now it's cold call and cold emails. We have a 62% success rate from a cold email to an initial, hey, I want to see something like this, again, because there's not very many things like that yet. But we also by region, right? That's why I'm here. There's a lot of schools within the region. One of the big things that we do, about 11 years ago, I didn't know any English. You might be hard to tell because I speak too much English now, but I didn't know any English. So if you were trying to tutor me, there's no way you tutor me, right? So we also added translation aspects, right? So now we focus on that tool. We focus in the schools that have the most international students or schools within the border, right? Or in New York, it's hard to go to the Learning Center because of weather, because of things like that. So we focus in region that we know what to sell, right? The pitch to the University of Michigan is a different pitch to Amarillo College, where I'm from, right? Which is a different pitch to NYU and Rutgers. So we just focus on what we do. We know who we're targeting. We know what we're selling them on. And then we point the gun and then we shoot too.
All right, thank you. That's all the time we got.
Awesome, thanks guys.
It's time for our post-pitch community announcement. So if you have a community announcement that you'd like to make for the group, come on down and line up in front of this whiteboard over here, and we'll have you come up one at a time. And so feel free to pitch an event that you want to promote, a position you're hiring for, a collaborator you're looking for, pitch a company that you're wanting to start, etc. And when you make your pitch or your community announcement, please come up like right here, right in front of Roger, and make your pitch. Keep it 1 to 2 minutes, and then afterwards feel free to write your contact info on the board over here where Carla wrote her email so people can connect with you afterwards. So first person come on right up, and then everyone can just come up immediately as soon as they're done.
Hey, good evening everyone. I'm Will with Rayle Law. I'm a data privacy and cybersecurity attorney in the area, and I wanted to announce an event we're having. It's going to be August 21st, which is a Wednesday, from 2 to 4 p.m. It's going to be at Spark Central, so the incubator hub there. We're putting on a presentation on how to respond and deal with data security incidents and the like. So it's going to be myself presenting along with my co-sponsor, which is Grey Castle Security. So if anyone's interested in that, I'll put the details up there, and hope to see you there. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Angela Pete. I just joined Great Lakes GrowthWorks as a principal. We do brand management, growth management, and our growth strategy work and innovation work. So if you have any questions on how to talk about yourselves as you compare to your competitors, you want to do some research around that, or if you're looking at product line extensions, things to that effect, we can help. I'm also up here for 2 other reasons. One of them being that we're looking for an office manager, so not necessarily tech-based, but if you have any leads, I'd love to hear them. And then lastly, we're also looking to host some meetups. So if you have a meetup that you'd like some space for, we're available for that. That's it.
Hello, my name is Daniel Young, and I'm the founder and Chief Innovation Officer of Circadian Risk. We presented here a couple times, actually. We went through the DECI Accelerator, so we've been kind of out there for a little while. We are rapidly growing and need to hire some developers immediately. We're looking to hire 3 to 4 people in the next 6 months. We're looking for senior full stack, senior front end, and a senior DevOps individual. So if you know of anybody or are interested in that, please let us know. Our CEO, Michael Martin's here as well. We'll put our information on the board, but please come talk to us if you know anybody or are interested. Thank you.
I'm Garrett Stuckey, and I host the Startup 360 podcast, where I interview founders on a 360 camera, and looking for two things: more founders to interview, and also subscribers on YouTube. So again, that's Startup 360 podcast, and my name is Garrett Stuckey. Feel free to find me, and I'll be hanging out.
Hi, I'm Dan Thomas. I'm an independent consultant. I do a lot of stuff in data science and business intelligence. I'd be happy to show you some of my work. I work a lot in Python and SQL and R and Tableau. So I'd be happy to show you parts of client projects I'm allowed to show you, and I'd be happy to show you part of a proof of concept I have for predicting certain things in sports. Thank you.
Hello, I'm David. David Dodds. I'm a software entrepreneur, SaaS specifically. My current niche, startups. I smell some. So I've in the past year, I've been talking to startups, and by far, the biggest, most common problem I've heard is hiring tech talent. I'm still in the ideation phase, and I am looking to talk with people who are hiring tech talent to have a good old-fashioned cathartic conversation about some of the pain points you've experienced hiring tech talent. Business cards up here. Actually, I'm going to rewind back to the beginning of this meetup when David said, "Who's hiring? Raise your hand." Let's see them. Who's hiring tech talent right now? We've been talking. Yeah. Anybody else hiring tech talent? Having a hard time? I know it's tough. Anybody? Free business cards. Where? Are you pointing to? Right here? Right here? Yep. There you go. All right. Here they are. You want them? Fresh pile.
Good evening. My name is Jade Burch, and today I'm representing an organization called A2 Health Hacks. So this organization produces a hackathon for healthcare. They focus on problems in healthcare. We're looking for anyone who wants to participate in the hackathon, which is happening October 11th through 13th here in Ann Arbor. We're looking for mentors. We're looking for team members. We're actually looking for sponsors. If you're interested in working on the problem of invisible diseases, please see me afterwards. And I've actually never participated in a hackathon like this before, but I'm really looking forward to it. It's the first time I've heard of something like this. So if you're interested, please see me after. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Robert Wang. I'm a UX designer. I graduated from U of M School of Information. And I'm here today because I want to help. I'm building an app that basically tells you when your produce expires. So based on your data purchase, the problem that I'm having is getting retailers to pitch to. So I need their data, their receipt data, based, for example, their data purchase, the description of the item, the price that they paid. And if you can help me put in contact with for example, like the CEO of Plum Market or Arbor Markets or another retailer like Meyer, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you very much.
Hey guys, I'm Prashant Saleh. I'm looking for a marketing professional and angel funding for my service marketplace. It's called Fix My Car. It's basically Uber for auto mechanics, so if you need car repair, you press a few buttons and the mechanic comes to you. And we've done about 150 odd jobs, 200, 250 hours in total. So if you have any background in marketing, please come talk to me. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Doug Song, CEO and co-founder of Duo Security. Here talking briefly to pitch the Entrepreneurs Fund of Ann Arbor. So this is a fund that's now been set up with the Community Foundation, Ann Arbor Area Community Foundation, which stewards about $150 million in community funds. But the idea is that, how many founders we have here? A lot, right? So I don't know if people knew this, but every year for the last 15 years or so, we've had on average, $200 million exit in Ann Arbor. Right? So if you add all that up, including Duo, it's several billion. And so had we actually captured some of that in a fund for the community, we would have had a lot more opportunity, right, to directly benefit nonprofits and all this kind of stuff. There's always philanthropy, but I think there's always ways to structure this, right, in ways that make it easier, because it's hard later to give like a percent of your company, as it turns out, right, to the community foundation. So at any rate, if you want to learn more, I'll put my email address up. You can send me an email, but the benefit to you as founders is kind of three, right? One is that you get an opportunity, right? That if your company does well, that the community in which you operate and that you benefit from does as well. The second, though, is that it's a network of founders, and so there are already some early meetups of some very successful founders and previously exited founders that again could be mentors, could be advisors, could be investors, and we all have something to learn. The third is that it also is working to help organize service opportunities, because whether it's for us or for our teams, service is an opportunity for leadership, and we do believe that there are plenty of opportunities, whether it's a habit infirmary home building or a Ronald McDonald House meal. We can get our teams together to do these kind of things in service for the community, and we don't have to all figure that out ourselves. It takes a lot of work, as it turns out. So at any rate, I'll put my email address up, but if you're interested in that, check it out, and there'll be more press about all this stuff probably come soon. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Tushar Sheth. I'm one of the founders of Team 5. We build machines that model human experts to help companies identify and develop talent. Our first product is a simulation-based assessment that companies can use for cybersecurity hiring. And before we start pilots with a few of our early customers, we want to get as many users to just help us learn and tweak and improve. And so looking for people with InfoSec background who would be willing to play in our simulations so we can inform our product development. I'll put my email up here, and we'll figure out something to make it worth your time. We're a fairly early stage company, but understand that your time is valuable, so we'll, maybe it's a couple beers or something, but we'll figure something out. So thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Ryan Gorley. I run TechArb, which is the University of Michigan Student Venture Accelerator, and I'm here to put an extra plug in to show up to next month's A2NewTech, because as you heard, TechArb will be here. This year we're trying something new, and it will also be our demo day. So you'll have the opportunity to hear about 5 student teams that have been working all summer on their ventures, 2 graduate student teams, and 3 undergrad student teams. I've got info about all of them here. And includes a contact for them. So if you're interested in learning more about them in advance or interested in learning more about the program, please feel free to grab a sheet here, and my contact info is at the bottom of the page as well. So thanks.
Alrighty, thanks everybody for the community announcements. And definitely excited for the TechArb takeover next month, so make sure to be here for that. One detail about that, it's going to be August 20th, so it's our normal third Tuesday of the month. We figured it didn't make sense to have a TechArb demo day and also an A2NewTech demo, or A2NewTech TechArb night, so we just combined them and bring these 2 great events together, and so we're excited for that. We have a ton of amazing students in Ann Arbor, undergrads, grad students, etc., who are building companies, and we're excited to showcase a few of those next month, and so make sure to be here for that and come hear what they're working on. So August 20th, we'll be back here on Tuesday for our next meetup, and it will be the same time and place as usual, but our networking time afterwards will likely be somewhere in this building or close by. So we probably won't be at Dominic's, but TechArb is going to have a special networking afterwards and reception. So don't miss that. And at this moment, we also have spots open for pitches, not next month because we have TechArb companies, but in September and October. So if you're interested in pitching, I'd love to hear from you. Even if you're not sure if you're ready yet, I'll help you figure that out. So reach out, and you can contact us at organizers@a2newtech.org to let us know and to start that process of figuring out if you can pitch. So the criteria we generally look for in companies is that you've ideally done some customer validation, spoken with some prospective customers, hopefully you've built a prototype as well. That's pretty simple a lot of times these days. And so if that fits you, or if you're kind of close, or you know someone that's in that ballpark who would be interested in pitching, definitely let us know, start that conversation. And like I said before, those pitches, in the next month, if you want to stay connected, if you're trying to connect with people that you maybe met tonight, you want to find other people and other tech news that's going on in Ann Arbor, join the Slack community at madeina2.com/Slack. And if you haven't seen madeina2.com, it's a helpful resource. It's kind of a directory of Ann Arbor tech companies, and so check that out. You might learn about some companies that you didn't know about previously. And show of hands, how many people are planning to join us at Dominic's tonight? We're going to be walking over there in just a second. Okay, a bunch of people. Again, they promised us the overhang should be dry even if it rains, and we'll have Ann Arbor Spark providing pizza. So Dominic's is just a block over, so if you're not familiar, you can walk over with someone, but it's like half a block over, in fact, very close. So hopefully see you there. If not, we'll see you next month. Thanks, everybody.
Until school. Definitely.